Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Sunday, and we actually just dropped a thought piece this past Sunday. So definitely be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available on 10 different podcast platforms for your listening leisure, and we provided you with access to the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today our topic of discussion is mental health. And if you missed our first video this week, we did a part 1 of our part 2 series on how to cultivate mental fortitude, build those mental muscles. And this is a continuation of that video. So in this video, I'm going to be providing you with 3 additional tips on how to build that mental fortitude as an aspect of keeping the needle on your mental health. So oftentimes when we're thinking and when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about periods where we're feeling very fragile, where we're feeling very vulnerable, very bombarded, overwhelmed by the events taking place in our life. And I'm here to provide an alternate perspective, how we can build strength, build endurance, build perseverance in those difficult times if we take on a more strategic approach in terms of how we push through those difficult times. So if you want to watch the first video, I provided you a link somewhere on the screen here to take a look at that. Let's dive in to these subsequent tips that I'd like to share with you today. So the first tip that I'd like to share today is always give yourself credit, always. And it's so important that we give ourselves credit for the way that we show up for ourselves in the difficult time, recognizing that we did not have the tools or the insight to navigate. And sometimes what we do is when we fall on our face or we're going through a hard time and we're really not quite sure how to deal with the situation, and we beat ourselves up over the way that we're handling the situation. If you know that you are doing the best you can, despite the fact that you're navigating blindly, you're learning how to swim in essentially a sink or swim situation, give yourself credit. I mean, how many people would have at least tried the things you've tried or done the things you've done and pushed through? And sometimes it's not poetic, you know? Sometimes it's a little bit messy. We get scrapes and bruises. We come out not entirely unscathed, but we came through, and we need to give ourselves credit for that. And I think too often we only feel inclined to give ourselves credit if we've done or if we've executed something perfectly or seamlessly or our performance was top notch. But when you're going through a difficult situation, when you are in over your head, when you're going through a traumatic situation, everything that you're doing trying to preserve yourself, trying to protect yourself, doing the best that you can with the resources and with what you have available to you, and give yourself credit for showing up for yourself. It might not have been the best execution. It might not have been entirely graceful by way of, someone on the outside looking in, but that's you showing up for yourself. And I think that oftentimes we fail to give ourselves credit for the things we did well because we're too focused on the things that we did poorly. And when you're learning, you're not performing. They're different things, but for the next time, maximizing in that learning how you're going to do things differently. And you always give yourself credit for at least putting in the effort and for at least trying. Super important. And now this next tip is a little bit deep, it's a little bit philosophical, and I want you to kind of just bear with me here. And I think that an important aspect of building mental fortitude is letting go of the version of yourself that no longer serves you. Oftentimes, these challenging situations that we find ourselves in, they are life-changing situations. They are mind-altering situations. We don't come out of these situations looking at the world the same way, but we can choose if we've changed for the better or for worse. And oftentimes, when we are struggling to find closure or to push through mentally beyond a situation that physically is behind us, it is because we are still mourning the version of ourselves that couldn't make it through that situation, or we're still caught on who we were, on who we've lost in ourselves because of that situation, not taking into account who we've become, this stronger, more capable, more able, more insightful, intuitive human being that this situation made of you. And sometimes that comes with added perspective on the different things that we can experience in this life. And sometimes it's a rude awakening when you realize just, how left can be. And that can be jarring, but it's not something that means that we are forever grieving and mourning the version of ourselves who we were before that situation or that circumstance. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, that of every situation we can grow from those situations, that we can be a better version of ourselves in those situations. And we need to give ourselves time for sure. It can be a slow rebound, a slow recovery process, but the focus should always be on recovery, and recovery recognizing that who we were before that situation, that person doesn't exist anymore, and that's okay. We are going to be so many different versions of ourselves by the time we make it to the end of this beautiful life if we live life all in. When you live life all in, expect that you're going to shed versions of yourself that you're going to outgrow, that you're going to no longer need, or that are going to hinder you in the next phase in your life. To be quite honest with you, who I was 10 years ago is not the person who would have been able to achieve and accomplish the things that I am able to accomplish now. And I'm very happy and proud of who I was 10 years ago, but I'm equally happy and proud of who I am becoming, even in this present moment. I am always okay to let go of the versions of me that are outdated and update to the new version aligned with the new levels that I'm hoping to achieve and accomplish in my life. I am not attached to any specific version of myself. While I love all the different versions of myself, if ever it is the case that I'm pushing beyond my comfort zone and the cost, the sacrifice to enter a new level is sacrificing the person that I've come to know to become a new person who is better equipped at that new level, bring it on. I'm ready for that move. I'm ready for that shift, for that evolution. I embrace it. I chase it for the most part as well, through good times and through difficult times. And I think that this mindset allows me to see the beauty in life. Whether I'm going through a hard time or not, I see the beauty in it all. I see the beauty in transformation. I recognize there is beauty in pain, that suffering has a purpose. And when we recognize that sometimes when we're suffering, when we're struggling, when things are challenging, that we're metamorphosizing, we're becoming butterflies, we're developing our wings, we're going to give ourselves the capacity to grow and go further than we've ever gone, then we grab that bull by the horns, right? We're ready to go. We're ready to hit the ground running. We're not going to let the situation or the circumstance break us, just break us away from the version of ourselves that needs to be let go, that really truly no longer serves us in this new phase and stage that we are entering in life. The last point, and this point is super important, is super crucial when it comes to building mental fortitude. And I think it's recognizing, always being cognizant that you are not your circumstance. And the world might try to define you by your circumstance, might underestimate you, might devalue you because of your circumstance, but you are not going to make that mistake in doing that to yourself. You are the way you choose to respond in the face of adversity, in the face of those challenging situations, in the face of those circumstances. And your becoming is yours to own, yours to author. That's your autobiography that you are writing page by page. stage, moment by moment, minute by minute. Even if others diminish you, do not diminish yourself. Trust the process, trust who you are in the stages and phases and the highs and lows that life will bring towards you, recognizing that the people who only love you for what they can gain from you are people that you should be happy to let go of. And if people want to define you by your circumstance, then those are the kinds of people who are only going to be there for you when it serves them. And those are not the kind of people I'm going to spend any time grieving the loss of. My focus is on the growth and progression, and growth and progression is not linear. Growth and progression involves highs and then drops, and then highs and then drops. It involves learning, growing, adapting. It involves getting familiar with the unfamiliar. It involves giving yourself the opportunity to cultivate new skills and not punishing yourself for the circumstance that you're in. And circumstances can be punishment in and of themselves. I'm not going to diminish that, but we're not going to add fuel to the fire by also beating up on ourselves for what it is that we're going through, especially if what it is that we're going through really is just a byproduct of external events that we're pushing through. We're pushing towards, the other side. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get a sense of how to navigate, building up the acumen to navigate with our best interest in mind. So don't punish yourself by labeling yourself by your circumstance. You are not your circumstance. You are who you're going to leverage that circumstance to become, and it's always to become for the better. Why? Because you are a game changer, and that's what we do. We rise up to the challenge, we focus on our growth, we focus on adapting and on becoming who it is the situation is requiring us to become to come out on top with integrity, with our character developed, intellect intact. In any case, that is really the topic for today, and I think that these are really fundamental core lessons in how to cultivate mental fortitude. And a lot of the times, conversations on mental health is how to struggle peacefully, how to deal with not coping. And I'm here to be no, you can cope. A hard time doesn't mean that you're drowning. A hard time could mean that you're pushing, that you're trying to get the skills, that you're developing, that you're growing. And that's what I want our focus to be on. It might not be fun, it might be arduous, it might involve blood, sweat, and tears, but that does not mean that we're not rising to the challenge and allowing these situations to shape us for the better. In any case, that is the conversation for today, and hopefully it was insightful to you. But before letting you go, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we will be going live at least twice a month, every month for the foreseeable future on our Facebook page. So definitely be sure to join in on those conversations. Now, these events are paid events, so if you do see yourself participating in our community on an ongoing basis, then I do suggest that you take a look at one of our package plans. Now, these package plans provide you with unlimited access to our live events, as well as access to workshops and webinars over and above the live events, largely focused on self-mastery. So if that's something that you feel interested in participating in, definitely be sure to join. And if you're concerned about our pricing, please don't be. We've just incorporated a new payment solution, Afterpay, that gives you the opportunity to pay in 4 installments over a period of 6 weeks, rendering all of our programs and services more accessible to you. So that's it for today. And if you're still here, subscribe to the channel, follow us, show us your love. We really appreciate it. Definitely be sure to follow us on all of our social media channels, and we look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. We'll chat with all of you later.
I just feel like no one's listening.